Yo, what's up, City of Truth? It's your boy, Pastor AD3, here once again, and welcome to Vision Day. I pray with everything that I have that you have been enjoying the service thus far. Man, it is so good. Vision Day is a very important aspect of the life of our church. It is when we come together to celebrate what God has done, what God is doing, and what God will do. And we also gather together and we give sacrificially for the benefit of our future. All right, now I'm here on stage with some very, very special people. And I say that they're special because they are special in more ways than one. All right, these people are comical, these people are great, these people are talented, these people are just people. And I praise God for each and every one of them. But we thought that we'd come to you because of many of you, all of you who are watching now, I'm sure you've seen all the worship sets and us singing and the band playing and different things like that. But we kind of wanted to let you in the back room about some of the adjustments that we've had to make in the midst of going through the 2020 pandemic and just different things like that. And so before we begin, I just want them to introduce themselves to you. We will start with this lady on my left.
Hi, I'm Tina.
I'm Eric. I'm Eddie.
What's cracking? I'm Donnie.
I'm Patricia.
Hello, everyone. My name is James.
That was amazing. What's cracking? I'm Donnie was like the dopest introduction. I want to do mine over. But listen, and so the heart behind this, man, is for you guys to know, like, there were a lot of sacrifices made. There are a lot of adjustments made in the creation of these weekend experiences that you guys have been seeing. And we've had to adjust our mind. And so even serving through the pandemic, I know for me, and serving through the pandemic was a huge adjustment. One of the main adjustments was the fact that I had to preach to a camera and not to actual people. And so I had to make that adjustment. Like when you're in there with people, you feed off the energy and all that stuff. But I had to like speak to the camera. But there are a lot of adjustments that a lot of us have had to make. And I'm curious, and I'm sure they're curious as to what type of adjustments or shifts have you had to make in doing what you do, but doing it in a pandemic?
I'll have to piggyback off of what you said, Pastor. When you're doing praise and worship and you're a praise team and you're a band, you're a collective. You have the singers, the band, and you have to sing to really nobody. That's the big part of the ministry, or a big part of what we do in church. We sing to the people, we engage the people, we watch the people run around. We pull them in and we invite them into where we are. So that's been a little bit of a challenge, but I think it speaks to us up here singing to the cameras. We can give more vertical worship and do more of speaking directly to God and not just focusing on who's out there. So that's been a stretch, but I think it's also been a benefit.
That's a blessing. And for those of y'all who just saw this young lady pop up one weekend, she just popped up and killed us all one weekend. She has been an extreme blessing. I believe her and Donnie had a relationship. They worked together for a while. They worked together, and we were in a meeting one day, and he was like, "What if I got Trish?" I was like, "Who?" He was like, "What if he was like, just trust me." I was like, "All right, I'm gonna trust you." Now, you know I got issues now. I said, I'm gonna trust you. Baby girl walked in, killed everybody. I said, keep bringing her back. And so she has definitely been a blessing. But that was a great point that you said, how it had to be more vertical. Like it wasn't about the people's reactions or responses. It had to be vertical. That's great. Another thing that I wanted to touch on, and I know Tina, I know you said something about this before. What differences have you noticed in yourself and the team in preparation for online worship experiences versus preparation for in-person worship experience? Like what differences have you noticed in yourself, like to prepare to be online? I know we probably touched on it. Like my main thing was the fact that there's not people in here. Like, is that your thing or what? Like what's your thing? Like what shifts had you had to make even in preparation versus walking into Southeast High School and there's the crowd and everybody's like, whoa, and all that stuff?
So I would say more of being authentic. Sometimes you're trying to create a moment of you want the Holy Spirit to be rushed in and we have a crowd in front of us. I think that's the main thing is that now we're not coming and having we're not having like rehearsals like we had on Saturdays. We're not engaging with everybody on the team. So it's up to you to be at home to be by yourself, making sure you got the songs. The band has to work by themselves with their instruments and trying to figure it out, and then all trying to come together and create this moment and to also still be authentic. We're stopping. We're starting over. People are messing up. If it ain't the band, then it's the media. It's worship
usually
team.
The band, though.
No, so basically,
that's not true.
Check them, Eric. But so basically, being resourceful on your own and having to, take your talent and your time and actually learn your parts on your own, learn your harmony on your own, learn the words, and just come and come together. And so I think that's a challenge for me. But it shows how talented I think that we all are, first off. And also, when we come here and we keep starting and stopping, we have had several moments where the Holy Spirit still came and showed up, and where we had to go longer than was expected. But that's how we know that he's real, and that he will show up anywhere, even at rehearsal, because although we're trying to get it right, sometimes he takes over and says, I'm here. So, yeah.
Yeah, I want to piggyback off that. There's something about coming together when no one's there that is really special. Yeah. And we've like she said, like stopped, started so many times, whether it was a bad note that I played or someone forgot a lyric or whatever. But there's like a fine tuning that I think happened in the season that when you're doing it live, you don't have the time to stop and really make those small adjustments and tighten that little thing up. And I think that for what it's worth in this time, I think we've really got a chance to fine tune just the chemistry that we've all, been able to build, and the trust, because it's team, it's a team effort, it's team ministry. And so I think the teamwork is, gone through the roof in this season in a way that I don't think could have happened if we didn't have the time and the platform, like in the context this way, right. Just everything slowed down.
Right.
And so I appreciate that for sure.
I agree. Even speaking of starting and stopping, like that affected more than just the singers in the band. Like that affected the media like a whole lot. Like y'all's arms would be about to fall off holding cameras and everything, and then starting to stop it. How has your experience been with even during this pandemic as it relates to media? Like a lot of things have changed and a lot of things have like even leveled up because of this. Like so talk to us briefly about that whole experience and that mindset behind that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things I feel like special, because the worship team has literally been singing to us, like literally. So a lot of people haven't had the opportunity to be in live worship, but for the media team, like we get that. Like literally, like you're singing and you're seeing our perspective as we're running around with cameras and stuff. So that's really cool. One of the things I think that has been challenging and we've been working through is like scheduling, making sure, everyone's here. I know it's the middle of a pandemic and people have families and just the whole nine. So just like wrapping that all up, getting everything together that we need to, and then showing up here ready to work. So like scheduling is a big thing. Obviously health and making sure everybody is safe. And that was a big priority for us. And
that was.
Again, for me having a front row seat to worship. So I really don't have too many complaints.
That's what's up. Yep, you're right about that, making sure everybody stay healthy. We had a couple scares, didn't we? Like we had a couple scares. Like y'all saw them worship from at home and junk. Remember that where Elisa was in every aspect of her house? She was trying to show the whole church every room in her house, and she just used it as an opportunity to show her that she got her little new house. But anyway, that was because we had a little COVID situation, and so we had to get creative with that, and it just was a lot, man. It was fun. It was informative. God was faithful, but it was stressful. Not stressful, stressful, like doggone Gucci Mane would say, stressful. It was super stressful. And so even in that, Donnie, like, even in that, like, talk to me about even how you have had to navigate leading the singers, like even rehearsal times, like how y'all have had to sneak, like what's the process been? Like what's been your mindset going into this? Like how has that been? Like help the people understand that. Like because what they see is what they see, but they don't know that it's a whole lot going on.
Y'all don't have a clue. It has been super rough. They make it look so easy though. I love my team, like for real. Like through this whole pandemic, they have been amazing. But it has been rough because you're dealing with like so many different like areas. I was dealing with media, with the band, with the singers, and trying to schedule all of these like people with these specific times, and it was just super hard. But everybody pulled through. Yeah, they pulled through.
Yeah.
But it was rough. It was really rough.
I just want to tell people how amazing Donnie is for a second. Donnie is incredible. He is a phenomenal leader. He comes prepared every single week. He comes prepared with his own parts and everyone else's parts. And this dude is a sponge when it comes to learning new material. This guy is legit, loves Jesus. I think he has this ability, even when we're starting and stopping and it can be frustrating and everyone's tired because we usually record in the evenings. He always keeps his attention on the Lord, and I think for the team it's kind of like the anchor. It's like, all right, Donnie's going for it. He's kind of setting the tone, and so I just want to say you're amazing, bro. Great job.
You, appreciate you, bro.
Look at Donnie. I'm about to cry up here.
Oh my gosh,
I'm so proud of him. He has done it. Man, all of you guys have done a great, man, I've been impressed with all of our teams, media, worship, band, like everybody just stepped up. Speaking of stepped up, one of the main people who has blown me away in the midst of this pandemic has been Eddie Lee Winrow.
Yes.
And here's why. Like all this stuff that y'all see, like this brother being here working his fingers down to the bone. He be down here working his fingers to the bone, making sure these sets are dope. Like Eddie, like what has gotten it? Like what was it? Survival mode? Like what did you go into? Like what about this pandemic? Like brought this to the forefront? Like what's your mindset going into? Hey, I need to do this. This is what we want to do. Like how does this come about?
Well, I think being at Southeast, being in someone else's building where we were coming in on Saturdays, setting up, tearing down on Sundays, it kind of restricted what we could do as far as like backgrounds and just different things. But us being in a space that pretty much is our own that we're using right now, we can do pretty much whatever we want to do. So we can experiment with the backgrounds and the sets and to keep things more engaging for the viewers, to make sure that it's just something different that they see.
I like that, which is a good opportunity for me to parenthetically insert that if you have not given for Vision Day yet, you can. You heard what the man said about having our own, how we can get creative and
do whatever we want
we
to
can
do.
do whatever
ask nobody.
We ain't got to ask for permission.
Yeah.
You won't hear no alarms going on in the middle of the service or none of that. So if you haven't done that, the options will be up. You can take care of that right now. But guys, listen, apart from all the music stuff, I think God has done some stuff personally in our lives. Like I know he's done some stuff in my life personally, helping me with the P word patience that I just have had to have over this other P word pandemic. And it's really other P word pissing me off. But anyway, but seriously, like, what would you say? Anybody can tackle this, but I really want you to grab hold to this. What would you say God has really done in your heart personally in this time, over the past 12 months? Like, what has he shown you about you? What has he shown you about your role? What has he shown you about him over these past 12 months? Anybody can grab hold of that.
Well, time, I was gonna say how important time is. I know, like scheduling was a issue that we brought up a few times, and just being able to communicate that, making sure the rest of my life is in order, so I can, say, hey, these are the times that I'm available. And again, like putting all this stuff together on Saturdays is kind of obviously it's really important because having that together and ready for Sunday is paramount. So. Making sure my time is scheduled properly, making sure I'm communicating, making sure all my ducks are in a row. Those are like items that maybe I wasn't taking as seriously before the pandemic because you kind of get into a rhythm of, like Eddie was saying, like setting up on Saturday, breaking down. But now when you have to put actual thought into all the things that need to happen, it's like, everybody else is counting on me to give them my availability, and I want to be able to give that freely to everyone because I know that's what they're doing for me. So, time.
That's great.
I would say community. Just knowing that you need people. Anybody that knows me know that I love being by myself. I don't need nobody. I'm good being by myself. Like, I want to go home. Like, when the whole pandemic started off, I was so happy. I didn't have to go to work. I didn't have to go to church. No, I'm just playing. I love church.
Nah, you ain't playing. You ain't playing.
I'm just playing. I needed church. But as far as just being around people constantly, like, I don't thrive in that. Like, I'm cool with just being by myself. So, I was great. And then all of a sudden, like, it just all went downhill. And I was just telling Tina, like, we was at a rehearsal and we all was just talking. And, like, at first we always just kind of, like, fronting, acting like we was good. And then, like, Tina came in and she just was real. I'm like, y'all, I've been struggling. And she was just saying how she needs, like, the body and all of that stuff. And, like, I knew I needed it, but I didn't realize it until she said it. And so it was just like, man, like, I really need community. I miss my church family. Like, y'all everything. Like, City of Truth is fire, and I miss y'all. And it just really, like, for real, just let me know. Like, I need y'all for worship. Like, I get something when I'm worshiping with y'all.
That's good.
It was really just that. Like, Donnie, you need community. You can't live by yourself. You can't thrive by yourself. Can't make it by yourself. God created us to be with people.
That was exactly what I was.
That's so good.
That's definitely mine too. I'm the total opposite of Donnie.
Yeah, you like the
people,
extrovert.
People,
oh my God.
Want to serve people, and but what's so crazy is that I went the total opposite way and went into a shell because I couldn't do the things that I was used to doing that fulfilled me, to help people, to see people, to touch people, and I had to be home and say, well, how can I still serve and touch these people and love on these people, but not actually physically touch on them. Even in the midst of sometimes I'm not okay. Sometimes people think you're not available, but I might not be okay. So I mean, just knowing that a lot of times people think because they say, well, you don't have to go to a church to be a Christian and to be saved, and God knows your heart, and that's true. You have a relationship with God, but God put that desire for community in us. Yeah. He's the one that made the body. So I just think that we realize how much being around people is important. God cares about people. He loves people, and they are important to him, and it's the same way with us. And sometimes we didn't realize that until we were put in that place where we were alone and we know we needed people. So I think that was my main struggle. It's still my struggle. I miss everybody and can't wait to get back. But this worship and the little worship that we have here, I think that is part of what made me make it through. It's seeing everybody worshiping with everybody. So that's exactly why I got through this pandemic.
So we're going to talk about sacrifices. Sacrifices. Now, sacrifices are essential, especially with kingdom people. I think that God calls us to make sacrifices. I think that, and I think Scripture backs me up, I think that if ever a believer gets too nestled and comfortable in any aspect of life, somewhere in there you can see some sort of detachment from the presence of God. I think the presence of God is what prompts and pushes sacrifices. Like, he pushes us out of our comfort zone. He pushes us to stretch, like I talked about last week. He pushes us into challenge. Jesus even says in Luke 9:23 that if a man wants to come and be my disciple, he must deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. Like, discomfort, discipleship. Like, if you want to be a disciple, you have to live uncomfortable. And so looking on, a lot of people will see us being jovial and see us having fun and see the camera angles, but they really don't know that a lot of sacrifices are being made. I'll even start with me. Many of you guys know that I do music. Like, I do music. I love music. It's just, that's kind of my first love. Like, preaching kind of came later, but music came before Lady J. You know what I'm saying? Now, Lady J came and music kind of took a back seat, but music was like I was married to the music. You know what I mean? And so one of the things that has been a blessing and a sacrifice for me in the midst of this pandemic is I've had the pleasure and privilege of being able to mix our worship sets. And it's been amazing, but it's also been a sacrifice. And one of the things James talked about was the sacrifice of time. Like, it takes time to do that. I'm in my studio a lot of hours, like putting EQs and compressors and reverb and pans and edits and cuts and all kind of stuff on stuff. And that was kind of one of the sacrifices that I chose to make in the midst of this pandemic, because in the beginning of it, I was trying to figure out ways that I could like give time to the church. Like, I'll be honest, I felt useless. Like, I was preaching, but like I had a lot more time on my hands, and I'm like, I can't go to meetings. I can't go to counseling sessions with people. I can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, what can I do to serve my church? And so doing that music thing and mixing the worship sets and staying up all hours of the night, that was kind of like, I felt like that was like my sacrificial contribution to the well-being of our community. And so I want to talk to you guys, like, sacrifices. Like, what kind of sacrifices have you had to make in the midst of this pandemic? It doesn't even have to be related to what you do here. It could be in your own personal life because of the adjustments the pandemic has forced us to make. But sacrifices, like, anybody want to talk about that? Like, any sacrifices, any, when I say sacrifices, I also mean like dramatic changes from your normal behavior. That's what I mean. So any type of dramatic change from your normal behavior. Somebody talk about that.
Those worship sets are fire, by the way.
Thank you.
They are fire.
Thank you. Do y'all agree?
Audio.
Do y'all agree? It's good. It's good.
It is fire.
Now I'm trial and error. I'm trying to get better, but I like the live sound that we have. Like, and mind you, I don't have to do much with them. Like, they're fire. But if I let y'all hear a dry set, y'all would change churches in a minute. But
well, yeah, sacrifices. So again, like you made a big point about time, and obviously, like, from a media team perspective, like, the team, service has to be done start to finish before you guys see it on Sunday.
Gotta be.
So that's completely backwards from the way we were doing it before. So
facts. We would mess up and nobody would know when we was live.
No one knows.
Like, we gotta know what's happening. That's a good point. Go ahead.
So it's early mornings. It's making sure, you know, everything is done, everything is uploaded, everything is set, ready to go, everything is starting when it's supposed to. And from like a media team aspect, you know, the team, you know, I've never had a better team than the team that I have. Craig and Dar, like, obviously just sticking in there, showing up, doing everything everything that had to be done, you guys were there to do. And so, I mean, that's a sacrifice of time that I definitely appreciate from you all. But again, the time thing, the early mornings, the making sure at 9 o'clock it starts when it's supposed to. At 11, it starts when it's supposed to. And then at 6, it starts when it's supposed to. And there's no fall off there. So just, again, sacrificing time has been a big thing.
And I piggyback off of James. But before I go there, I piggyback off of him again with Pastor. Like, our pastor is, like, amazing, y'all. Like, he does everything, like, for real. At home, in your kitchen, in your room, in your car. Put your hands together for our pastor. We have an amazing pastor. Like, for real.
Donnie is doing the most, ain't he?
But then...
Somebody paid him.
But yeah, I also want to piggyback off of the time thing, because that was, like, one of my main things as well. With the worship team, like, we had to learn, like, 4 new songs each month. Like, y'all didn't even know. Like, at the beginning, like, we were like, because, you know, you have to keep, like, everybody, like, we have to keep bringing it for y'all because it's not the same. Like, it's not like us all together. The energy is not all there. Like, you know what everybody was saying earlier. So it's like we had to really, like, focus and find ways to keep it, like, fresh and keep it nice for y'all. So we was, like, really just, like, on all of these new songs, and then just all the random times, like, that we had to come and record. Sometimes we recorded on Mondays, sometimes we recorded on Sundays. And then one time, y'all don't even know, like, we was up here till like 12, 1 a.m.
That was actually the first recording.
And that was my
We did
fault.
like 6 songs.
And
That was my fault.
No,
Six
and
songs.
Pastor and,
We had
and
8 songs.
Listen. So Pastor thought of this awesome idea.
Oh, come on.
And the idea was to do 8 songs in one night. So we get here around like 6 o'clock, and we do 8 songs in one night. And I think that happened. I could have been on a Sunday or a Monday. I can't remember, but I remember the very next day, Tina, Donnie, and myself got on the phone and were like, "We can't do that again. Who's gonna break it to Pastor that we can't do this again? It's just not ideal. It's just not the way we need to be doing it." And so Tina was we threw Tina. And Tina was like, "Yeah, I'll do it. I'll tell him."
Listen, y'all, I didn't know what to do. Like, this is just they shut the world down. Like they shut the world.
Said no.
Exactly. Like they shut the world down. I'm panicking. I'm like, will we have a church? Like, what I'm gonna do? Like, this is my employment. I'm like, what's going on? Y'all getting in here singing these 8 songs?
Pastor was stressed, y'all.
In my mind, let me tell you my thought process though. My thought process was like, on Sundays y'all sing 4 straight through. So I thought y'all could have came in, but it just wasn't like that. And I'm glad y'all confronted me on that. And it just changed the game when we switched it. So thank you so much for that. Thank you. Because I was like, why y'all in here? Y'all sing 4 songs on Sundays. You just go on through them. It's like, it's different though. Like, totally. When you sing it on camera, it's just different. When you preaching on camera, like, it's just different.
Y'all, by that 4th or 5th song, we was trash. Voices was gone, like energy was gone. It was so horrible. It was.
People were angry. It's just hungry, tired.
People about to quit.
Sacrificing.
Quit Jesus. They was quitting the faith. Like the Lord wouldn't want this.
And I would say too, if you guys know, you've been seeing the same people on stage, but we have an amazing praise and worship team
amazing.
That have not been able to serve, mainly because we want to make sure that everybody is healthy and safe.
Yeah.
So being committed and having to be the same ones to come up here, knowing that you've been able to switch out and we've been able to show new faces for you guys. I think that just knowing that it's just you got to come back, so making that commitment was really hard, knowing that we have several other people that are capable to do this. And also knowing that you can't, when this was going on, we couldn't go all the places that we used to. You couldn't go to brunch, you couldn't go here, you couldn't go there, mainly because you have to worry about all the other people that are involved on this stage or in media or on the band, because you know that you don't want to expose anyone. So I think that was a big change too, is just realizing that you have to make sure that you're not being selfish, because we're doing this for the glory of God. So we have to make sure that we are safe, we're not exposed, we're not doing things outside of here that can expose other people. So just making that commitment was something we had to do personally.
And that was a hard call that I had to make. With just kind of limiting it to the singers that we've been having for the year. That was hard to do. But I just, in consulting with you guys, I just kind of felt that it would be the best approach for all the reasons that you said. Like, we were able to kind of control the environment, and we were able to kind of limit the movement. So we didn't want to keep switching people, because we wanted to just protect everybody. And for the most part, man, God really honored that. Like, we ain't had I think at the beginning it was kind of shaky warrior, you know what I'm saying? Like, at the beginning we had a couple COVID scares and then one time in the middle. But for the most part, everybody's been safe. We've been able to trust that each other has kind of been staying out of the public eye and all that stuff. But it's been good. God's really covered us. That was a great point that you put, man. We got so many gifted and blessed singers that we would have wanted to be with us, but the pandemic kind of put parameters on what it is we wanted to do in praise and worship, and we had to do what we had to do. But things are changing. I sense the world opening up. I sense the heaviness lifting. Come on, somebody. And I believe that God is going to bless us with our own home, and we're going to begin to move forward in that. So this has been a great conversation, but one last thing that I want to kind of touch on before we wrap this up is, what would you say to the people watching us, to the Truthians that are watching us, as it relates to your experience of the importance of worship during the past 12 months? like how important. I know you talked about community. That's great, and that's needed and necessary. We teach that here. But I mean, even just physically worshiping, like how has that helped you? Even been maybe therapeutic throughout this? Like just having that time. I know for me, like coming here was like an escape. Like when we used to do the recordings, like we was trapped at home, like with the kids and Lady J, and the kids was tired of me. I was tired of the kids, and they was tired of me and Lady J. We just, you know what I'm saying? But then coming here and worshiping, like it was a release. It was therapeutic. So how have you experienced that? Like how has that experience been for you in the midst of this pitiful pandemic? Somebody can grab a hold of that. Like how has that been for you?
I think it stresses the importance of corporate worship. I mean, sometimes obviously when we were meeting in person, it's like you could be in the middle of a worship set and you could hear like the sound of heaven. You could hear all the voices. You could hear all of that, and it could move your heart. And like obviously being here and just feeling like even this small body of individuals in here, like you could feel that and you can understand how important that was. So again, I'm very blessed, privileged to have you all sing to me over the last year. I kind of felt like that, but like I definitely count that as a privilege and an honor to have been there. So
I would say that it basically showed me that God can show up anywhere. Even at home, when I have to go over this by myself, and sometimes God just takes over, and it's just me, you know. So he doesn't need a crowd. He doesn't need people cheering him on.
That's
Sometimes
good.
He just needs you.
Girl, you got something on your life.
That's definitely what I learned through this experience.
I would say the same. I would say that the Lord he's worthy of it, you know. I think that the importance of worshiping before the audience of one, like not before the eyes of man, but before the eyes of the Lord. I think his worthiness is what makes it count, what makes it matter, you know? And his worthiness isn't contingent upon a pandemic or restraints or whatever. I think he's worthy in every season, whether we're, you know, having the hardest time in life. He's worthy of worship. He's worthy of praise. And so I think worshiping with that mindset and that kind of heart posture has helped for sure. To not let my feelings and my emotions and the way that I feel about what's going on politically and all of the stuff, just everything that's happened over the last year, just silencing all of that and just looking at him, locking eyes with the man, Christ Jesus, and really just letting that be what matters, you know?
That's good. Yeah. That's good.
I agree with everything everybody said. I think this is like one positive thing that I got from the pandemic is just being able to just spend time with God. Before the pandemic, just regular life is so much going on. You're going to work, you're running here, running there. Some people got kids, like it's just a whole bunch. And just to be able to just, you know, be in the face of the Father, like that's amazing to me. And just coming here, like we do bi-weekly, and just coming here, being a part of the worship team, knowing that there's a whole pandemic out there, but you know that you're doing something for the Father, and you're doing something to encourage the people, like even in these hard times. And just to push yourself aside to know that you have a bigger goal and a bigger calling on your life. And that just felt amazing to me. And I don't know, I think that's a very positive thing that I've taken from the whole pandemic.
And real quick, another thing that I just want to highlight is how the Lord meets us in our weakness. Yeah. You know, I think that it's pretty clear in the Bible that his strength is made perfect in our weakness.
Absolutely.
And a broken and a contrite heart, he just won't deny it.
Absolutely.
You know? And so I think coming again and again and again, no matter where you're at, you know, I think that he if it's a weak yes, it's a yes nonetheless.
Yes.
And so
yes.
I think that he loves that, you know.
A weak yes. That sounds like a song we need to write.
Let's get to it.
That's good, man. I like that. I'm still at Stones.
I'll say that.
Patricia, hey, Shanae Thompson. He knows my name.
Edit.
She said edit. Keep that in. Go ahead.
I'll say that I feel like the pandemic, it's been intentional. I feel God has purposed it for us to have a long time with him, spend more time with him, get rid of our agendas and the things that we have normally done, and actually it was funny because I was thinking the other day, during the pandemic, I was taken to the scripture, we have a hunger and thirst after righteousness. But I realized that my hunger and thirst was to be in the presence of the Lord, and it was because I was out of it. And I feel like because it's a whole setup and God does all things well, when it's time to come back in the four walls of the church, that hunger and that thirst will be at an all-time high, where it's undeniable for everybody to tap into his presence. And it's just, he's amazing. Again, he does everything strategic. And I think that being at home, you can see like, wow, I'm not worshiping with anyone unless you have a family. But again, the community and coming in here, and it's like, wow, this is the hunger and the thirst that I needed to get off of me when I was at home alone. But with the people around you, you can feel just, it's not just you wanting the same thing. And that's what I meant by, you can tell the difference from us singing to nobody. You can sense the difference because it's something that we're going for after ourselves now, opposed to ourselves and reaching for you too. But again, all things are going to come together, I feel, when this pandemic is over and church is not back to normal, but we come back together. It's going to be, there's no words. It's amazing, to say the least, for sure.
That's good. That's so good.
I think for me personally, kind of being set down to actually having to deal with issues in life. And
now, he wasn't set down disciplinary.
No, like
the pastor ain't sit you down now. I ain't sit him down.
No, with the pandemic being set down from being in an actual physical facility. Yeah. And so with my role being on Sundays, I normally wasn't able to really focus as much on the word. I was more so worried about, is this light gonna go off? Is this cue? Is this video gonna play at the right time? And so I think that with the pandemic, it just forced me to be able to sit down and actually listen to the word that's preached when we record, and to the worship, and I think that just had an effect.
Like a Mary and Martha situation. I thought about that as you was talking. Like, for real, like you're doing so much, but you're just able to focus on God in these times. Yeah.
You preaching now, Pastor Sanders.
He reads his Bible.
He be reading his Bible. He wanted y'all to know.
During the pandemic, you start to read your word more.
That's exactly what he been doing.
That. So if you haven't read,
he been spending time in his word. His brother got it overflow. Listen, y'all, it's fun. We could be here talking to y'all all day. We're not going to take up all the time, but I wanted you to take a peek in behind the scenes at these amazing people. These are just some of them. The amazing people who have made these past 12 months. 12 months I'll never forget. Like, literally, we'll never forget this. Like, we will never forget this. And we've grown closer as a family. Friendships have been built. Confrontation has been had. Heads have been butt. But at the end, man, God continues to get the glory. And we're so excited about the next wave of glory that's coming into City of Truth Church. And so we love you guys. We thank you guys. There's more of 4 Vision Day in store. Stay tuned. God bless y'all.